In this question, we are going to, it says that a cup of peanuts contain 8 more grams of carbohydrates than the cup of walnuts, and 1 less gram of than a cup of almond. If a cup of walnuts contain W grams of carbohydrates, then a mix of a cup of peanuts, walnuts, and almonds contain dash grams of carbohydrates. So the solution is, so we have a cup of peanuts contains certain grams of carbohydrates, a cup of walnuts, and a cup of almonds. So let's call them like P for the cup of peanuts, omega, which is W for the cup of walnuts, and almond, A for the cup of almonds. And then let's now solve this question. So when you read the first sentence, let's just read, for a cup of peanuts contain 8 more grams of carbohydrates than the cup of walnuts. So we know that peanuts has 8 more grams of walnuts. That is the first sentence. And then it says that the cup of peanuts has 1 less gram than the cup of walnuts. So a cup of peanuts is equals to one less gram. That means that like almond is 1 more gram than cup of peanuts. So a cup of a cup of almonds will be -1 for the cup of peanuts. And then, so this are what we get from this text. So if you go to the next sentence, it say if a cup of walnuts contain W grams of carbohydrates, then walnuts is equals to W. Then the mix, so we have to find the mix of all. So the total mix, let's just total mix to be M is equals to the addition of the cup of peanuts, the cup of walnuts, and the cup of almonds. So let's make the substitution and the elimination of from these two equation. Let's say this is equation 1, this is equation 2. So from equation 2, it says that P is equals to A minus 1. Let's make almond being a subject. So A is equals to P plus 1. So this, let's make it to be equation 3. Then this equation 4 and this equation 3. Substitute equation 4 into equation 3 and equation 1 into equation 3. So we're going to substitute this equation to here and this equation to here also. So the value of the total mix will be, so instead of P, it is 8 plus omega. Then instead of A is equals to P plus 1. We already know the value of P. So 8 plus omega plus 8 plus omega plus 1. So M will be 8 plus 8 plus 1, which is 17, plus omega plus omega plus omega, which is 3 omega. So this will be the value of the total. So if we do the manipulation and making this omega the subject, it will be P minus 8, and then let's leave the P here, the value of 8 be a subject. So when you might substitute these values here, you get the different answer with P being the variable. So it depends on what you do the manipulation of this question. And you already know that the value of walnut is the same, so you don't need to make the substitution. You already know that omega is equals to W is equals to W for the value of the walnuts. So let's do the next question. The next question says that answer the following. Choose the variable to represent the number by words in the parentheses. And then equation B says write an equation that represents the given information. So this question, you don't have to solve anything. You just need to make the equations to solve this problem. So you can solve it when they say that you need to solve it, but mostly you need to make an equation for this. So here, let's say the distance, the distance traveled in 3 hours of driving was 240 kilometers. You already know you're given the distance and the hour. For it, you have to find the rate of the speed. But so here we're gonna find the speed. Let's make it to be maybe v. So you know that the distance is equals to this speed times time. Let's make the speed to be v. So the distance 240 is equals to v times 3 hours. So if we put the SI unit will be let's just not put the SI unit because we need to make the equation. So 3v is equals to 240. So this is the equation. So this is the equation, and this is the first example we need to solve. For the second equation, you are given that each car in the fleet of 24 rental car is either red or blue. So let's just solve the first sentence, what it says. So you're given that the total rental cars is 24, and these cars, they're either red or blue. So that is the first equation. That's what it says. And if we go to the second sentence, it says there are 3 more blue cars than the twice of the red ones. So we are given that the blue car are 3 more than the twice of the red car. So R represents red and B represents blue. So when you read the second sentence, you are given this 3 more. It means 3 plus something, right? And there are 3 more blue cars than the twice number of the red ones, which is the number of the red cars. So instead of just saying that there are 3 blue cars plus 2 are, that does not make sense, because we are not told that there are 3 blue cars times 3 times blue cars than the twice. That will be the equation. But you're told there are 3 more blue cars than the twice of the red ones. So this is the equation. So this is equation 2. This is equation 1. So you substitute equation 2 into equation 1. So equation 2 is going to be substituted here. You have the value of b. So 24 is equals to r plus 3 plus 2r after the substitution. So 24 is equals to 3r plus 3. So this is the equation. This is the final equation. If you're told to solve this equation, you can start solving it. But we are told to find the equation that represents the information. So that is the end of these values. So the question here says that a hockey team played 12 games. So there are 12 games played. They say they won two more than they lost. So won two more than they lost. And they lost one more than they tied. How many games did they win, lose, and tied? So we have three variables: won, lost, and tied. So let's say this is W, this is L, this is T. So 12 is equals to W plus L plus T. So we are told that W is equals to 2 plus L and L is equals to 1 plus T. If we set this to be equation 1, this is equation 2, this is equation 3. So if we were to substitute 2 plus substitute this to here, and the value of L we know that is this, so instead of L we put this. So we're going to substitute equation 1 and 2 into equation 3. So we are substituting equation 2 into equation 1. So W is equal to 2 plus 1 plus T. So it is 3 plus T. So this is equation 4. So instead of omega, we are going to substitute this. Instead of L, we're going to substitute this. So substitute equation 2 and 4 into equation 3. So it will be 12 plus equation, instead of W is this 3 plus T. Instead of L is 1 plus T plus T. So 12 is equals to 3 plus T is equals to 4 plus T plus T plus T, 3T. So this is the equation. This is the final equation. The equation say how many games did they win, lose, and tie. So we have to find the winning game, the lost games, and the tied game. So we already know that T is equals to tie. Let's find out the value of T. So 12 so this will go to the left side and then is equals to T. So here we have 8 is equals to 3T. So we know we have to divide into both sides. So T is equals to 8 over 3. So this equation, I came to realize that this equation cannot be true. The value of all the team that played is 12 for all the games. That was the 12 games that were played. It's a whole number, and when you try to find the value of each, we are getting the fractions, and fractions means there are fraction in every situation. So here the value will be 2.66666 until infinity. So this is the value, which cannot be true because the value itself is supposed to be the whole number. You cannot get half fraction of games. So we have to, so the equation would say, we would have said it's impossible, but we are mathematicians. We have to find how many to get the value to be correct, to get the value to be 12. How many games should we have won? How many games should we have lost? and how many games should have been tied. So we know that this can never be the value. So we have to solve how many. So I'm going to use this equation to solve this equation to get the correct information. So L plus 1 is equals to 1t. You know that cannot be true. Okay. So let's try to say that there were two more games which were lost. Okay. 2 plus t. So if we do that, when we substitute 2 plus t here, I'm sorry, it's going to be laugh, but just try to follow what I'm saying. You can put this video into lower speed so you can go with the place which you can understand. So what I did, instead of putting like there are one more lost games than the one which was tied, I put there are two more lost games than the one which was tied. So the value will be L is equals to this one. So I'm going to substitute this equation. Let's say this is equation 5 into the equation 1. So this will be 2 plus 2 plus t, which is 4 plus t. So this will be equation 6. So I will substitute equation 6 to the main equation, right? So I will substitute equation 6 and 5 instead of question 4 and 3 and question 2. So 12 is equals to this, and this. So it will be 4 plus t plus 2 plus t plus t is equals to 12. 12 is equals to 8 is equals to 6 plus 3t. If I put it will be 6 is equals to t. So t is equals to 2. That is the whole number. So there were two tied games. So that is what I did. I just manipulated the equation so that I can get the how many values there are. So, but if you are in exam, you are given such kind of equation, you cannot change the equation because the teacher has already made the question and the question was wrong at the first glance, so it cannot be true. So what you're supposed to do is tell the teacher that if you do this, for any teacher you want to impress in mathematics, will be like, this person is smart. You'd say, for this, the question which you have given me, it's impossible to get the 12 games. So as for me, I will try to manipulate this equation to make it that the 12 games which were played, this was the value of what this will have been the value of what is won, lost, and what was tied. So we already got the tied equation to be this. So I'm going to making this to be equation 7. So I'm going to substitute the value of t to equation 5 and equation 6. So L, which was the lost games, is 2 plus 2, so that will be 4 games. And the won games is 4 plus 2, which is 8, which is 6 games. So if we substitute the value of 12 with 1 lost and tied, it will be 6 plus 2 plus plus 4 plus 2, which is equals to 12. So this is how you solve the question, which sounds impossible for you, but not all questions will be as simple as this. So you should check how many times you have, how many minutes you have in your exam or in a class activity. If you have longer time, to try to find as much as you can to solve the equation. But if you do not have enough time because the question was given by your instructor, just leave it there as it is. So thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to tune in to see what happened next.